stand before you today with one all-important question on my mind. Do you want a future that is as close to paradise on earth as possible? Well, if so, I would like to ask you to listen to what I have to tell you now. Because as you know, I'm running for president. And however, instead of some other candidates, I'd like for us to not resort to petty politics and fishing expeditions anymore. In my opinion, the government should be the most transparent organization in any country. Because how can people ever trust their leaders if the people don't know what their leaders are up to with the power they gave them? With that out of the way, let's talk about education. Our educational system has always been one of the major positives of living in the Netherlands. And I am almost ashamed that some people thought it would be a smart idea to save money on this, as it is the single most important thing for us to invest in. As Ben Franklin once said, an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. And I couldn't agree more. One of the benefits of having a good educational system is that many foreign students come here to study, which is really good for our economy since educated people earn way more than people who aren't educated, and therefore a lot of tax money goes to the government. But we need open borders for them to be able to come here to study. And therefore good relationships with other countries are very important. However, the EWR's plans would absolutely destroy these with their plans to send prisoners to other countries. I really like their 3-point you're out system, but not in the way they want to use it. The 3-point system is great for increasing the jail time or other punishments that criminals take, but you shouldn't lay the burden on other countries. The EWR did also make some really valid points about salary and the outrageous difference between the top few percent and the normal people. My coalition partner, the Party of Success, says that we should just let this be, but I don't agree on this. I think we should look for something in the middle, since the EWR class system based around rewards other than money would only succeed in escalating the situation, because many possible employers would move their businesses to other countries, since the Netherlands just wouldn't be as lucrative anymore. Instead, I think we should raise minimum wage and make sure the laws concerning gender and age discrimination are obeyed at all times. This may make some other countries leave this country, but those will mostly be companies with many badly paid workers. Many of these businesses already chose to set up shops in Asia or Africa, and even if they weren't planning on moving, they aren't very good for our economy. You see, they take up a lot of space, they cause pollution, and make our country even more attractive to immigrants by asking for cheap and mind-killing labor. So with these companies mostly gone, we can spend our time working on developing and investing in more lucrative companies, which for instance work in the IT sector or do research. This will cause a few things. It will make our country less attractive to immigrants, since they don't have a lot of places to work anymore. It will enable everyone to earn a decent wage. There will be less pollution, and our economy will start growing exponentially because of the tax money, and most importantly, the massive amounts of money we won't have to spend on people who live underneath the poverty line. As for the people who are currently working at those companies, who will probably lose their jobs if the companies relocate. They can learn a new, more challenging expertise, and therefore can get a better earning job by working with employees of already existing companies. Until they complete this internship, we can offer them a fund paid from the money we won't have to spend on the endless streams of immigrants. This funding will, however, be watched closely, and anyone attempting to exploit this system by not doing anything and living off this money will first be sent a notice, and upon failing to start something within a week, will no longer receive any additional government money. Finally, I want to tell you my plans about our healthcare problems. First, let's identify what those problems actually are. The healthcare problems we are facing today are mostly long waiting times, and some people who can't afford their insurances. The second part will be solved by economic reforms, since all currently poor people will have a lot more to spend. The long waiting times also aren't that hard to solve. Right now, many people go to the hospital for a slight headache or something, which really isn't necessary. And it only lengthens the waiting time for people who do need to go to the hospital. My plan is to bar those people from directly running to the hospital and just making sure they go to their family doctor first. This will also make healthcare insurances a lot cheaper, since a hospital visit is way more expensive than going to the family doctor. To make sure this doesn't overload any current family doctors, we will need more, creating more jobs for other people. This plan will shorten time until treatment for people who do need to go to the hospital, because waiting times at hospitals will be virtually inexistent. So to conclude, I want economic reforms, a reduction of discrimination in the working environment, more focus on education, and to reduce the waiting time of essential healthcare. Vote for a brighter future. JFJ.